Now, if you're not using something like reverse osmosis or distilled water in there, you can get a buildup of minerals that forms on that and actually prevents it from working properly. First off, you just don't want to use like tap water or a spring water, anything that actually has minerals in it, to prevent that from happening. But if that does happen, welcome to the Tye-Dyed Iguana, guys. I'm Eric, and today we're going to go over a little bit of troubleshooting and maybe a little bit of maintenance on ZooMed's ReptiFogger here. Now, the unit itself is awesome. Definitely keeps that ambient humidity up in the tank, and a great way to utilize this is to actually use ZooMed's Environmental Control Center as well, where it will monitor your humidity and kind of turn off and on the fogger as needed. That way you're not trying to run it on a timer or manually sitting there playing with it all day. But besides that, there are a few things that could potentially happen with this, so we're going to go over that today. First off, one issue that does occur fairly often is you may have this sitting here and maybe you end up getting a loop in there, kind of like this, where it's sitting a little weird. Well, if that fog starts to build up in there, it will actually fill this area here with moisture, and it kind of condenses and just leaves a little pool in there. That'll actually prevent water from coming back out and actually fogging inside. It just kind of blocks all that fog from coming through. So you want to make sure that no matter what, you have a nice tight line kind of going into the tank, and that's going to prevent any of that fog from building up, and that's going to be the best way to solve that. Another issue you might have is it's not fogging and this blue light here is off. What that actually means is there's no water in it. So make sure that this is working properly, where the water is actually coming through. If you need be, you can kind of pour a little bit of water in there to see if that's the problem. But if that blue light is off, effectively it has shut down and it is not running because it is not sensing water into the reservoir there over the disc. Another issue that you guys might come across is keeping the fog actually going into the tank. Depending if there's ventilation around, things like that, sometimes it just blows out. Also getting it to kind of sit nicely. Now, if you have it in the right place, you're gonna have it where you can just kind of point it straight down like that and it holds in really well. I have seen people, try to lay it sideways and then try to get it, but as you can tell, if you lay it sideways, it just kind of goes across the top of the tank. And too much humidity going onto one of those bulbs could definitely cause an issue. So we've gotten kind of creative in here, and we've used this awesome little decoration skull, and we just kind of stick it in the side of his head and just set it right there. You could use all different kinds of decorations. I've seen, use different types of weights. You could also use some sort of suction cup or magnet to actually mount it on there. That works really well too. Next is the little fogger itself that's inside. You have the fogging disc. Now, if you're not using something like reverse osmosis or distilled water in there, you can get a buildup of minerals that forms on that and actually prevents it from working properly. First off, you just don't want to use like tap water or a spring water, anything that actually has minerals in it, to prevent that from happening. But if that does happen, you can use something like a light vinegar solution. Let that kind of soak in there and then kind of rub that out with a cloth. That will definitely help it come back to new. Now, it's not going to make it perfect, but it does kind of help that out so you can produce fog again. Other issues that might occur is, number one, with this here, if you are using water, it starts to build up bacteria. This little spring that's in there that just poured water all out on me, that can kind of get clogged up with a little bit of gunk. It's more of a bacterial film that kind of gets in there and prevents that water from coming out. So make sure you keep that clean. Sometimes I'll just take it out, rinse it under the sink. Another one is, this isn't necessarily a problem with keeping it going, but it may be unsightly. Obviously, it's sitting next to a tank with some lights. You can see all this algae buildup in there. If you have a bottle brush, great, you can easily kind of get in there. Another thing I like to do is I'll pour some hydrogen peroxide in there, shake it around like crazy just to coat everything. Now, the hydrogen peroxide will actually make the cell walls on the algae burst, and then I would go through, rinse it very well to get all of that back out, and it usually helps to clean out that algae film that you'll have in there. Another issue that does occasionally happen, which I actually haven't seen this happen in a long time. I think ZooMed has definitely seen it as a problem and has fixed that, but occasionally you may have a fan go out. Now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do other than replacing the fan, and I know ZooMed does actually sell that item that you could actually end up replacing it yourself. If it's within warranty though, ZooMed is more than happy to take care of you if there is an issue. They are always 100% behind their product and will take care of you on that. But the way you will kind of know that that happens is if you have this with water in it and you can see a fog actually coming up, but it's just not being pushed. It's usually that fan. You can kind of open it up, look in there too, see if any air movement is going on. Another thing that could happen as you continue to have one of these, they last a really long time, so sometimes parts wear out. There is the possibility that the hose, gets dry rotted, and you may get a crack in there that allows air to escape. Now, you may be able to get a hold of a new hose to actually replace it. I've seen people use vinyl tubing, all kinds of things that actually works really well. ZooMed does also carry the multi-port fogger attachment that you can kind of mount on and extend that a little bit. And the multi-port attachment works great for larger enclosures for sure. So you're not just focusing that fog in one area, you can really spread it out across the tank just to give a little bit more of an effect other than just having it humidify the tank. So that's going to be some of the main problems that we do see on occasion with this unit. Usually it's pretty rare to have any issues with this unit. It is a great solid unit to use. But down in the bottom, let us know if you guys have had any problems. Give us some feedback on what you've had experience with this. Love it, hate it, what's kind of been going on. That's it for me today, guys. We'll see you next time.